Welcome back to Chapter 4 in the Third Class Power Engineering Book A1 series. And in this chapter, we're going to be taking a look at forces and friction, which will be an application of our trigonometry work that we did back in Chapter 2. So there are 7 objectives for this chapter, and there's quite a lot to cover. For the first objective, we're going to define coplanar and concurrent vectors and draw space diagrams for forces and displacements. 2. Draw a vector diagram and use it to graphically determine the resultant and equilibrant of a force system. Number 3. Use trigonometry to resolve forces into components and to calculate the resultant and equilibrant of a force system. Number 4. Given a coplanar concurrent force system, calculate any unknown forces. 5. Define static and sliding friction, coefficient of friction, and use the coefficient formula to calculate the coefficient, force, or mass in a simple friction problem. Number 6, explain friction angle and perform friction calculations for forces applied parallel to the horizontal plane. And then finally, objective 7, calculate the coefficient of friction, object mass, and applied forces for objects moved on a horizontal surface by forces that are not parallel to the plane. Okay then, so let's get into objective 1 here, which is a nice little introduction and 4th class review of what we should already remember about vectors. So for objective 1 then, we're simply going to define what concurrent and coplanar vectors are, and then take a look at space diagrams for forces and displacements. So to start off with, let's see what we can remember. Do we remember the answer to these 3 questions? So what was the definition of a scalar? What was the definition of a vector? Which one was speed? Pause the video and have a go at these. And then when you think you've got your answers, unpause the video and we'll go through them. Okay then, so for the first question, what was the definition of a scalar? A scalar quantity is something that has size or magnitude and an appropriate unit only. So something like length, for example, is the classic scalar quantity, because when we say length, we say something like 10 meters. So that's a size and an appropriate unit. The second question here is, what was the definition of a vector? A vector quantity is something that has size, the appropriate units, but also this time a direction. So classic vector quantities are things like velocity or acceleration or force. They're the classic ones we generally deal with. And then the odd one out that usually gets mixed up is which one is speed. Speed is actually a scalar quantity. And the easy way to remember it is S for speed, S for scalar. And the reason why speed gets mixed up is because speed is measured in meters per second, but so is velocity, but velocity is a vector. V for velocity, V for vector. But speed, S for speed, S for scalar. So there is a bit of a trip up there between those two. So please make sure you are aware that speed is a scalar quantity. Okay, so here are some classic scalar and vector quantities then. On the left-hand side, for scalar quantities, we're talking about things like length, area, volume, we've looked at these previously, speed, mass, density, pressure, temperature, energy, entropy, work, power, etc. The list does go on. So those are all scalar quantities in that they have a size, they have a unit, but they don't have a direction. Now a vector quantity on the right-hand column, these are quantities that we deal with that do have a definite direction. Something like displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, weight, etc. These are the classic ones that we work with in power engineering that are vector quantities. Now an interesting one that's not on this list here is, what about time? Would time be a scalar quantity, or would time be a vector quantity? Well, you could make an argument for both, but time is a scalar quantity. S for second, S for scalar. Now, why is it a scalar quantity and not a vector? Because time only goes one way. There's a concept in physics called the arrow of time, and as far as we know, it only goes forwards. So the direction is a given. So because of that, it is a scalar quantity and not a vector quantity. So another great one to be asked about on an exam that regularly gets mixed up between scalar and vector. Okay then, so how do we actually represent then our vectors? We simply represent them by a line segment with an arrow on one end indicating the direction of travel. So these vectors here in the first diagram, top left, we can see here it has a magnitude of 3 newtons, so we're talking a force, and the direction would be 45 degrees above the horizontal. So there is our magnitude, 3, our appropriate units, newtons, and our direction, 45 degrees above the horizontal. That's our vector, and we draw these on something called a space diagram. On the right-hand side, we have here an image of another vector, and this one is for velocity. As you can see, the unit here is 400 kilometers per hour. Well, that's a velocity. Now, in this example, we're traveling due west as this vector is on the compass plane or the 4 cardinal points. Now, just to make things a bit more interesting, we often represent vectors on a compass plane for purposes of things like navigation examples. And we're going to look at those in this chapter. So in this example, our 400 is the size, the kilometers per hour is the unit, and due west is the direction. In the diagram bottom right on my screen here, this one here is going to be for displacement. And displacement is basically the distance travelled away from a point in a given direction. So in this example, our magnitude or size is 200, our appropriate unit is meters, and our direction is due east. Because once again, this one is on a 4 cardinal point plane or a compass plane. Now, there's some other terms that come into vectors that we need to define, and this is the idea of coplanar and covector. Coplanar vectors are basically vectors that exist on the same plane. Well, what do I mean by that? A plane is a region of 2-dimensional space. So in the example on the screen here, there are 2 different planes. There is the pink plane and there is the green plane. If I was to draw a vector between points M and N, and also draw another separate vector between point O and point P, I could say that they are coplanar vectors as they exist on the same 2-dimensional plane of space. If, however, I drew my vector between MN and then another vector between QR, those are not coplanar because they are in different 2-dimensional planes of space. So this is the idea between coplanar and coplanar and non-coplanar. The next one here is concurrent. Concurrent is simply a definition where vectors meet at a single point. And we typically see this when we talk about lines of force meeting at something like a shackle or a chain link or something like that we'll look at later. So simply, if vectors are concurrent, they either emanate or meet at a single point in space. And again, this can either be 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional space. For power engineering applications, however, we're only ever going to be looking in 2-dimensional space. 3-dimensional space will get a little bit tricky, and it's beyond the scope of what we're looking at. So we're only going to focus on 2 dimensions. And trust me, that's a good thing. 2-dimensional vectors, they're a lot easier. Okay, so that's basically it for the introduction regarding vectors and the idea of scalar and vector quantities. So give this a little bit of a review. I'm sure you knew most of that before from 4th class, but give it a good review anyway. And then when you're ready, come back and we'll get into this a little bit deeper and we'll take a look at objective 2 and 3, but at the same time. And I'll explain why in the next video. So, see you back soon.